If you guys would like to buy coins, you can go to mmoxp.com. There will be a link in the description down below. They are the cheapest and the safest option. You can use my code JFC at checkout for an 8% discount. Well, yes, we're back. It's a comments video. If you left a comment, hopefully I can get to all of your guys's. There's like 170 or something like that, so hopefully I can get through all of them. If you guys just want to see what we talk about in the title of the video, there is a timestamp in the pinned comments down below. But yeah, thanks for being here, obviously, on the second channel, especially in, what are we, in June, in the second channel. Like, I obviously appreciate all of you guys so much, and thank you for leaving comments every day. And this was the day that EA removed the 82x20s, so we now know that they brought them back, and obviously they aren't that good. But that's kind of like the context of 3 days ago that we're in right now. So we'll just see what we end up discussing here. My guess is it's going to be quite negative, but we'll see. Okay, we got Juhu to start us off. I'm scared about how EA will mess up with fuddies and shapeshifters. On God, please, EA, don't mess this up. And a couple things. One is I also agree. I don't have faith in them making a very good couple of promos here. But don't be scared. If it ends up not being good, you know, just check out content. You don't like it, you go play something else, right? But maybe you're of the opinion that you like the game actually a lot, so you want the promos to be good because you like the game, maybe. I'm not exactly sure. We've got Anmal Sharma. I definitely butchered. I'm going to butcher a lot of these names, so I apologize. I've been watching your vids for around the last 2 years, but I like you talking about the main problems in the game. Good job, man. Hey, thanks. That's very nice of you. Wings of Age of Consent, which is still maybe my favorite name on my comments on a regular basis. Game is cooked, bruh. Has been for a while, but it's officially over. Also, I legit fall asleep to the 50+ minute comment videos, so keep them coming, my dude. Thank you, man. I talk very fast, so I try and intentionally slow myself down on a lot of, like, all my videos really, but especially these ones, because if it was an hour of just absolute babble, like insanely fast talking, I don't know if I could even handle that myself, let alone anybody else. So I'm glad you can fall asleep to this, because I feel like I'm just spitting shit constantly. We got Sully next. The 82x20s were pointless anyway. Waste of 85s and 86s. Didn't get anything close back. Just good for EAFC fodder to do upgrades. I can't say I know what the E with the umlaut on it, EOW fodder, means, but I think you're saying basically why were people pissed about the 82x20s being removed when they're terrible anyway. And it was more so like the principle behind it, that it was terrible and they removed it almost as if they thought it was too good, and then they released it again a couple days later, or it was 1 day later actually, and we didn't notice at the time, but they did actually make it slightly better, even though it's still not grindable. But yeah, removing the 82x20s themselves wasn't really the issue. It was more so them doing that showed us kind of what they think about menu content right now, and in it, not good. We've got G-Slang. Why give SBCs pack weight when people buy tons of 88x11s? I think you're trying to say here, like, give 82x20s pack weight when people will just buy store packs. I think that's what you're trying to say here. I mean, you're not totally wrong, but I think that this really only lasts so long. I think that, honestly, if you end up with just having the whales and that's it, or the guys who are literally addicted to spending store packs who spend thousands a year, you're toast. Like, you will not grow your game. You can only keep it steady or just slowly decline it until one day it will fizzle out. You have to do something different than that. So in theory, yeah, like, it makes sense why put in that effort when people spend money on store packs anyway. But if you only take care of that part of the game, people will leave, and then at that point you can't get new customers. You rely on the old guys to spend more money than before. That's what they do now. This game went from kind of a 100,000 500,000 players to spend $20 in the weekends. Now it's get 50,000 players to spend $1,000, and that will continue to only get worse, and then their game just dies one day, and it'll take years to get there, but that will happen if they continue down the same route, in my opinion. Now, Mason says, bro, chill. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't very chill. I'm a menu grind merchant. I'm a passion menu grind merchant, and when the menu grind's bad, it pisses me off. And seeing your guys' comments agreeing kind of helps fuel the fire, because you guys all feel a very similar way, or at least most of you, right? Emilio Calderon, logging in to see if Vela SBC comes out, log off when he does not show up. Now, we did not know this at the time, but it turns out Vela just didn't come out. So unfortunately, Emilio, Vela End of an Era is up with Timo Werner, Futmus. He's up with, I mean, there's a lot of players he's up with right now in the Pearly Gates, and I'm not sure Carl's Vela End of an Era is ever coming out. It's a damn shame. We got Jacko Music with a long comment, but basically I'll sum it up for you. He basically says the Rivals and Champs game mode combination kind of sucks, so they should change that up. I completely agree. I think the game modes are a big piece of why this game's not that fun right now. And also your point down here I want to talk about, though. You say, when I pull a good card, I feel rewarded, and maybe then I can give something back in buying a store pack. Why not? So you're saying, let us pack some good cards, right? When I pull a good card, I actually feel more rewarded, and maybe I'll give something back. The thing with that is that might be actually how you are, and there's people that are like that. That's how it would be for me as well. If I felt like the game was good and good enough to warrant spending money on it, then I would have no problem with it. But obviously, it's not good enough. Plus, it's obviously super addictive in terms of the way they have it set up right now, and that's why this isn't the case, because psychology tells us with gambling mechanics that people don't stop. Like, they keep going until they do eventually win. They'll go in too deep. So there's no point in improving the pack weight like that when gambling psychology tells you more people than not will continue doing it no matter what. So yes, you might not spend anymore, which is a good thing, right? If you don't pack anything good, why spend money? But people will do that out there, and most of them will spend a lot of money. It just takes a couple people to spend a lot of money, and then that makes up for the hundreds and hundreds of the others that don't. Obviously, that's a bigger scale, more like thousands and hundreds of thousands. But you see what I'm trying to say? They're just playing on human psychology, and that's what this is now. That's their monetization is gambling for the most part, and then some MMO stuff kind of mixed in there, but it's mostly gambling stuff. RYOV, new to the channel. I'm curious to know what you mumble at the end of the videos. This has been an age-old question, and you'll never know. All right, if you know, you know. If you've been here for a while, I actually used to. This is many, I think, like what, 2+ years ago. I used to actually say the whole thing full out, and it just ended up getting so blurred together that now I just mumble. And it's not really a mumble, it's in there somewhere, but yeah, it's basically a meme at this point. I make it like worse every time. I try to make it even more impossible to understand. Gator Doc, if I had things on here to be positive about, I would gladly comment on them, but there aren't, and I'm genuinely pissed off. Ultimate Tots is supposed to be the culmination of a good Tots for 6 weeks, something to look forward to, some peak of the mountain. Instead, it's more like inside of a mountain goat's asshole. Fuck this game. I mean, you're spitting. What do I gotta say about that? I mean, yeah, this was a joke of an Ultimate Team of the Season. We know that by now, and it's fucking ridiculous. Borat Sista feels like they want us to forget about FC25 and start looking to FC26 as it's been released earlier this year. Now, this is actually just debunked literally today as I'm recording this. They did just announce that it's going to be the same release date as usual. So the rumors has been August, and there probably was some smoke to that. Maybe that will happen like next year or the year after that, or they were genuinely trying to see if that would be a good idea, but that will not be the case for FC26. So I do think there's one part of this that does make sense though, and that's that you feel like they want us to forget about this game. Well, obviously the last about month of content, there's not much, right? You know, the last, I want to say a couple weeks of the game, there's literally almost no 6 p.m. content because they want you to just kind of move on, right? There's always that to some extent, but when does that begin really? Like, when do they start phoning it in? You know, when is that time? Is it all the time? Is there like a certain date around that they start kind of phoning it in a little bit? But I don't know. It's, you know, it's just kind of an interesting question there. We've got Lord of O-Town. I fucking hate EA Sport. A bunch of evil, greedy, foaming at the mouth pieces of dog shit. Okay, yeah. Lord of O-Town is not happy, folks. He is not happy, and this is a safe space. You can comment whatever you'd like in this comment section. Next up, this is Mark Mack. It's a long comment, but I think it's worthy of reading throughout. So we're gonna read through this quickly, and we're gonna go into it. So Mark Mack, the 82x20 was not a big deal. There's really just one thing that determines if people say that FC grind is good or bad, and it's pack weight. 82x20 earlier in the year, good because of pack weight. 82x20 now, bad because of pack weight. So that immediately there, I think is wrong and right, at least in my opinion, but we'll talk about that. Understand though, when you think pack weight is important, that whoop you make when you pack a rare Mbappe is because you're chasing that gambling high and not because your team is improving. EA moving away from gambling high and into quantified purchases of Evos is responsible gaming. Frankly, I think they should go a step further and implement a dusting system like all the top collectible card games have done. Yes, all the gamblers will be gone, but I think new players will come that are turned off by FC's current gambling and toxic environment. I'm sure this is what they want to do. It is just that's very likely it will make less money because, face it, a pack-addicted gambler blows a lot more money than a responsible gamer. So, okay, I think so. We'll start with this one up here. There's really one thing that determines if the grind is good or not, and it's pack weight. I don't agree with that fully because in FIFA 19, I bring up FIFA 19 a lot, right? Because there actually was a menu grind that wasn't solely related to pack weight. I suppose to a certain extent, any menu grind is related to pack weight in some way because you have to pack cards, right? But I mean, needing high-rated stuff. We had a menu grind that you didn't need the high-rated stuff. That was pretty much all kind of bonus, where if you put time in, you can keep ripping through packs, gaining coins while doing that, and also not needing to pack any like crazy cards. Yes, you need to pack some silvers in there, right? Or some kind of, you know, really like niche cards you might need to go and buy to complete the system, but you'll make coins throughout. So the point is though, we've seen a grind that can work to a sufficient level that wasn't relying on strictly, I need high rated cards. And we've seen that work. I do agree though that pack weight is important, obviously. If you do a grind almost no matter what, and pack weight is bad, it's not going to be great. Now, what they can do with that is have you be able to make coins while doing it, right? Because then if pack weight's bad, you're still making coins, you're still gaining something. But that's what they've done, right? They've taken the coin making away, and you can't do that anymore because that was just too good. And yes, there are people that are chasing that gambling high, right? That is undoubtedly the case. But I think there's a good chunk of the menu grinders that is not just gambling addicts, because they don't go and spend money in the store, right? So what do they like that isn't really the gambling part? I think a lot of that is upgrading your team, like grinding it up, right? Seeing your team improve, making those coins when you used to be able to make coins, and kind of like as bonuses packing stuff good, right? That's kind of all on the side almost of making the coins, because yes, you would make coins a lot quicker if you pack stuff that was good tradable, but it still ended up being worth it throughout just to kind of do the method. But I do think it's a good point you're making in here though, that like, yeah, it does feel like they're kind of turning more into quantified purchases of Evos, which is literally not gambling. I think right now what they're in a space between is like they're trying to feed into the gamblers and also the Evo guys. Like the way the monetization is set up in the evolution section, I think it would be much more understandable if the packs weren't the way they are. So right now you're kind of in the worst of both worlds with that, where yeah, maybe give it a few years, and because they know eventually the government cracks down on them, the packs aren't quite the same, and that could happen, and it ends up being maybe actually just better for, you know, the average person in terms of, you know, just gambling addictions will not be being formed, at least to the same extent. There'll always be packs in this game, but I think if the government were to crack down, it would look quite a bit different in the store section. Oh, but yeah, like I'm willing to totally concede or say that, you know, there's parts of this new system that they're going for that probably is better actually, even though it's annoying still. But I'm willing to say that yeah, like if we move away from the store, like that's probably a better thing for everybody, even if right now we're stuck in between those things. Maybe next year comes out, the store is not as big there, but I don't think the store is going to change until we literally get a government crackdown, and that might take years still. We're seeing that stuff gain momentum obviously, but it still might take years, and until that point we'll be stuck in the monetization of like everything right now, evolutions and store packs and season passes, and I mean, you know, you name it. But obviously, you know, what do you think, Mark? If you're watching this video, you know, what would you say back to that? Sid Hart says that they have made the grind really bad and made pick/pack weight super bad so that you are directed towards a store. That's it. Someone might buy one store pack less due to repeatable good content, and EA can't have that, and that's probably the case, right? They're just right now it's tough because maybe if they haven't met their revenue goals throughout the year, right, what they might be thinking is that can we really afford to like give up right now in June or in May, because if we make a really good repeatable grind, maybe we will have less money spenders, and then we've already had a bad year. We can't have like the end of the year also be not so great or not meeting expectations. That's just pure speculation, but maybe that's what's happening, because we know the start of this year was not very good, and obviously, you know, they've rebounded from that point in terms of like the stock price and also, you know, just the game in itself to a certain extent, but that's still there. Like that, all that stuff is still that hurt them, so they don't want to go back to that. They know how bad that it can be when the profits were not up to par. Yeah, I think that actually is probably the reason why we can't get good menu stuff right now, is because they're just worried that one, the power curve is too much, they fucked it up, and also store packs. Sid Hart once again, also they think they are infallible and everyone's addicted to their game so they can get away with this. They only listen when their bottom line's affected, which they might not realize, but it will soon be. Also, SBCs are definitely being phased out for store content, and this actually I totally agree with, because yes, people will be like, you will have people holding on to a certain extent for a long period of time, but it reaches a point with everybody, and for some people that's really quickly, and some it's a lot longer of a leash. But we saw it already. This has already happened. The audience is not infallible. Like we already witnessed that earlier this year. The player count was in dire straits. It was like FC24 post Messi situation, player count in dire straits. Their money was not being made the same, and it's obvious that they're not infallible. To some people, they're going to be, right? There's gonna be some people that, like, even myself, I'm willing to admit, like, it's gonna take for me to like kind of quit my possible career. Like, it's gonna take a lot for me to quit the game, right? I'm in a unique situation, of course, but for you, it's like there might be parts of this game you really love, and you might have a longer leash, but there's always a point. It's not infallible. People will stop playing, and I don't know if that's the point they got to, where they're like, nah, people are just not gonna leave. But what was the reason for whatever the hell has been going on? I don't have a reason. They're phoning it in, and is it just because they think you're gonna stay no matter what, or is it because they don't have the resources to keep working on this game while they're working on the next one? Like, I don't know what the deal is. Shaft of 2010, if you're angry, if you're stressed, which we could use an E on the end of these, but we'll let it slide for now. If you're angry, if you're stressed, or frustrated, this is their goal. You're addicted. Another E. Can we add some E's here? Team of the Year gave you easy wins, and now you need your regular fix. Stop, take a break. It's not worth it. they need you to be addicted. Don't let them win. And I do agree with part of this for sure. It's like they do feed off people's addictions 100%. They feed off psychological tactics, FOMO, etc. So yes, try your best not to let EA dictate how much you play or how long you play or how much you enjoy the game, because this should all be just however much you enjoy it, right? If you're enjoying it, keep playing it. If you don't enjoy it, stop playing it. Don't let the FOMO get to you. LS7W, W ran from JFC and the GOAT pick in the same day. Shane Vlarier, I am honored to be one of your GOATs. Hey, I mean, that's all I could ask for. We've got Christian Lopez. Not getting rewarded is the reason why I stopped playing online so much and now just do objectives / evos and squad battles. The homies in the group chat call me the squad battles merchant, and I still managed 10 wins this weekend because of me abusing the double tap through balls around the box. Interesting. People are also so predictable, always running down the line and looking to cut in. And if you don't know the reason why the past 3 years this has been like the thing that they do or that anybody does, is because the way the attacking AI is, I can actually show you. So the way the attacking AI is, right? Let's say you're going against a back four, you're in a 4-2-1-3. Here's a right back, center back, and left back, right? Let's do now our players. We've got the left wing, the striker, and the right wing, right? The attacking AI, what they do, this is all that it is. Your strikers and wingers, if they're on inside forward here too, just to a lesser extent, but this is basically the direct passing mechanic right here. The only thing the striker's gonna do the entire time is go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth the entire time until he's open. This is how the AI plays. So what you do is you don't really see your striker very often open, right? Especially because the DM is gonna be here pressing the shit out of him, right? So naturally, the way that you kind of play is you go down the wing with one of your wingers and you go right here, right inside forward, right here, right here. Then what happens here is usually you end up with like a one-on-one kind of. The fullback will be here, but usually this guy and this guy will be matched up, and he's just trying to make you miss with your center back here so we can pass to him, because he's gonna go back and forth the whole time. All he's gonna do is go back and forth, and let's say red actually pulls their guy out just a little bit, right? He moves him just a tiny bit out this way. Red is now gone. Let's kind of move him over here. So red is like here now, right? Because I accidentally moved him over just a slight bit. Now black is gonna come in and just kind of, run right into space, right? What attacking AI should look like is this guy making a run corresponding to the center backs, right? If they're sitting here in a tight formation, he'll give you an option here, or maybe he'll make a run over this guy behind for a cross, if say this is real life, right? Or maybe you can just sit right here, sit right in between and play as like a hold up striker. But EA don't know how to code that, so all he's gonna do is go back and forth, until you do make a mistake with your center back though, then he'll move in here because he's going back and forth constantly. He'll be open now running into goal to score. So the easiest pathway to score in this game, use your wingers, get in between this gap right here. On a counterattack, if you only got 4, right, the DM might be back, but say he wasn't for this example, the easiest way to score is go here, wait for the stupid direct passing run, pass to him and score. That's the only way basically that most players are gonna score in this game. It's very rarely fluent attacking plays where the winger will make this run in behind, you make this pass here. It's just that stuff just does not happen very often because this back four is so deep oftentimes, partly because the game does that for you, and also because everyone runs a back four with fullbacks not doing anything, right? So that's kind of there's my diagram of how people play new gen FIFA. Lucky tries trading. I hate the fact that we as players always look at the next game and hope they fix stuff that exists now. We already know that they use the same code for their new releases. What's the point of waiting for the next game to play another okay, I'm gonna restart this. We need some punctuation, Lucky, okay? I was going off one breath there. Basically, you're saying right here, I hate the fact we call ourselves a gaming community and we can't even get EA to change their structure because we know it's bad. At the end of the day, we will all cry until our tears dry up and silently leave one by one because you actually have a breaking point where you can't take it anymore. This is an interesting thing because this sentence where you say, we call ourselves a gaming community and we can't even get EA to change anything, right? So what are we doing then? Well, I think this is the thing, is that can we directly, just us, say, hey, we want this, they'll implement this? Probably not. But what we can do is spread the word, because all of us have reach, right? All you gotta do is spread the word that like, hey, this game's not very good. Or hey, EA are doing this, they're doing that, that's awful. All that stuff prevents new players from playing the game. Like, it all does. Yes, it might not seem like it really does, but all the bad PR and press that they get is only good for us. And that's what the community can help in, because let's talk about the player counts, right? The player counts went way down. We talked about how shit the game was in November. It was terrible. People stopped playing it, and then then they changed it. So yes, did we directly make that change? No, we did not. They say here, yeah, we'll all silently leave one by one and it's pointless, but like that's how we do make the change, right? People start leaving and then the changes start coming. Leaving or not spending money on the game, that's an easy way to do it too. So that's how we do kind of in one hand, like kind of do dictate what EA does, because if we don't play it, they're gonna have to change stuff. So yeah, we directly can't go to somebody and say, hey, we want this, but what can happen is that, hey, we don't like this, people stop playing, then they'll make changes. So we do in one hand like have a community that does matter, but then also they're not going to listen to us directly, if that makes sense. We got Heit ich mal lieber getanzt, which I can't say I know what that means, even though I took 4 years of German. I don't know what that means. Today you had some great pack weight. Congratulations. I'm very, very happy for you. We got ABCYT. I've been exclusively almost playing against bots and rivals for the past 4 days. I'm on PS5, but playing old gen, and they're not like beginner on squad battles. It's more like ultimate. Anyone else, question mark? Or have I just lost my mind and these are real people? Even when I lose against someone, I'm 9 out of 10 times in the game. These feel like almost impossible. It's always when I'm 2 or 3 wins away from getting to elite, I play them. And a lot of the replies are people saying like, yeah, I think they're bots. It just feels like they're really good and making like kind of bot-like plays maybe. And that's the thing now, is it's going to be harder than ever to see if you actually were playing a bot, because, you know, it's so copies how people play that it's sometimes pretty seamless. Like you're not even realizing you're playing against a computer. So it could be happening. We have probably no way to ever prove this. I mean, maybe you could somehow, maybe there's some clever way to do it, but it's going to be all hearsay until we know one day they do it or they don't do it. Hey, glad I can make you laugh. I don't even know what I said, but glad I made you laugh. Heart, thank you, Carnivore. Wong Cruz, first time ever in my life, I went 13-2 in champs, but guess what? I didn't feel any excitement at all. I think it's because of all the thoughts that the game is so over. The want to open packs and rewards is gone. I see. The love of the game is gone. I got a bunch of great players, but guess what? They're all under 60K. Conclusion, the game is completely cooked. There's a lot of reasons for this to me. What's the biggest reason as to why the game is quote unquote cooked? Because, you know, it is right now feeling like one of the most boring years of FIFA of all time. Try not to be too prisoner of the moment, but what was the main reason for the game becoming this way? Was it the power curve issues? Was that like the main thing, or is it more so just the menu grind in itself? Was it the gameplay as the reason why? Because I don't really know. I think was it a mixture of all of that, more likely, but if there was one of the one biggest reason you could think of, was it the power curve, and was that the reason? And if that's the case, what does that look like next year then? How do we change that? How do we ask EA to make it better when content in a way sort of has to be a bit worse, which you would think would suck? But I think what would help with that is if they're changing the power curve next year to make it slower and cards end up being worse, is, hey, you can actually use a card and pass with a card without incisive pass. You can score a finesse shot without finesse shot trade. Because right now, that's why you need cards that are elite, because they can do the simple stuff, right? That's one of the biggest things to me, is that people only care about the meta a lot of times because you kind of need to play like FIFA. Otherwise, you always have a card in your team, or 2 or 3, that you just can't do something with. And it's like, okay, well, yeah, I'll use the meta because I can actually pass how I want and dribble how I want to. That's one of the bigger reasons that's slept on a bit of why people don't use fun teams, because it's hard to make a fun team that you can do the simple stuff with. We got Marts. I can't understand why EA are going down this road. They're actually pushing people away from their game. My only thought is that if they make it boring enough, players will be so bored they spend money. I just can't understand the logic. Yeah, I don't know if that's the case, but I also don't have any idea either. So maybe you're right. Maybe the thing is that if they're so bored, they'll just spend money because it's exciting. Maybe that's the case, because what else is it? Cons Birel, scripted ass game, Div 1 elite player, and I get 8 to 10 wins in champs. From those losses, I should have won at least 3 more games. This happens every week. I never finish a game winning it just by luck, yet I lose 70% of my lost ones down to bad luck. Now, I can promise you probably won some games based off luck. I promise you, happens to everybody. You've lost some based off of bad luck. You've won some based off of good luck. I can guarantee you. However, it's undoubted you might have had a bad stretch where you can have a weekend league where like you can have 4 or 5 unlucky losses, and that just can happen in 15 games. You can have unlucky losses in 4 or 5 of them, and that can happen because this game sucks. So that can definitely happen, but I never win a game by luck, I lose mine off luck is a little, I doubt that one personally, but go watch your games back and you probably see some stuff that you're missing there. Chris says, simple solution, don't buy next year's game. It's going to be way worse. Who cares if it's the only football game? Find something else to do that's less manipulative. And this is the thing, yeah, don't buy next year's game if you don't want to, obviously, but also you don't have to be manipulated by this game, right? If you raise awareness towards it and you constantly talk about it, it and try and get yourself to be as not manipulated as you possibly can be. That's a good thing, because if you play this game casually, recreationally, you're not addicted to it, it's not manipulating you. Holy shit, what's this one? Then it can be fun like any other normal game, right? But just it's important to have that distinction. Slot machine crazy. I'm not going to read this whole thing, but if you want to read through it, you all can. He's spitting in this. But your last sentence is interesting because you're saying, what are we doing? Have we all succumbed to EA's philosophy of spend money to feel happy? They are a degenerate company and need to be given a wake-up call. And this is the thing, is that yes, you should not be spending money on this game. Like, you know how I feel about that. You've done that for a while. And this is the thing that people kind of forget about, is they have to make more money than previously, basically all the time. They can't make the same amount or less. They have to make more than they did before. So all we have to do simply is that you could literally buy next year's game and just not buy FC points, and enough people do that, they will see the difference. That's with even purchasing the game in total. Like, you literally can make a company notice a dip in their profits while still buying the game, because that they need that extra monetization through the microtransactions, and they rely on that so much. And the only way they get even close to their profits that they need to get every year based off the last year's is by a lot of microtransactions. And if you don't do that, you are helping, and helping a lot. And that's the thing, is that they kind of had a slight wake-up call in terms of, over the winter. They did have that, but it can be bigger. It can be bigger. And I think one day it will probably get to that point. Maybe they recover and it ends up, they make better games now, because maybe that was their wake-up call in January. I doubt it, but it could happen. But these games are so reliant on you spending, multiple purchases in the store, probably monthly, if not, a lot of purchases in the store, basically. Zuzul, if packs aren't there, you get nothing. If they are there, you get nothing. I don't see the issue, and that's not wrong. Like I said, it was more so the principle, but you are not wrong. Assassin DM1, it's not accurate to say the 84 plus combos replaced the 82 by 20. They replaced the 85 plus combo. They just removed the 82 plus and replaced it with nothing. And they did do that. That actually was the case until obviously the day after, which to me, that's just proof that they did not plan that. That was definitely a thing that they just threw in because they didn't see the backlash coming from the new requirements, and they don't understand what makes a menu grind great. Either that or they just don't give a fuck. You decide which one's worse. Suzume, I think Suzume, 82 by 20 was dog shit anyway, but your big thing here is, I will say it and keep saying it, we have the game we deserve. The whole community this year ruins everything from the start. Trash community, trash game. And listen, I don't disagree with you. I think there's a lot of the community that is not great and promotes toxicity, and I don't understand it, because we're all stepping in this dog shit together. We might as well work together to get out of the dog shit, but we can't do that because we're just infighting constantly. Yeah, like, I just, well, let's try and work to be slightly better. Just the ones who are watching, which you probably already not the toxic ones, but let's try and be better. Okay, we're back. For you guys, I haven't been gone at all, but for me, it's been a day, and now we're back to read your guys' comments once again. I think we left off on Anubis TGA Sports, who says, in summary here, basically a lot of people do base their opinion on the market, not actual stats or in-game performance. Like, for example, Frygong, right? Half the chat going, bro, trust, she's insane. The other half spamming, she's 20k. People can't even get excited because people try to denounce what you pack by mentioning value. Value does not equate to good or bad, just how common cards are being packed. And in normal years, I completely agree with you. I completely agree that usually the price is really just based off of that. But this is the thing with this year, is that your first point is completely correct. Like Zwei packing Frygong, right? And then people shitting on him for like being excited about it, maybe because she's only 20k in the market. The thing with that is that both sides actually are correct here, because if Frygong is great, you can be excited by packing a great card, right? Simple as that. However, if she's 20k, you could have just bought her for 20k and would barely have noticed the coin balance being gone. So this is kind of why these rewards are difficult to judge, because in one hand, yeah, you're getting a cool card maybe that you want to try out, but at the same time, it's a card that you could have literally bought for pennies on the dollar on the market. So if the gameplay is not great, was that worth your 15 games of playing? Was that worth your rivals games, right? That's where the problem has come in this year, where you say, the value doesn't equate to good or bad, just how common cards are being packed. It's like yes in a way and also no, because the cards are being packed very commonly in the store packs, but not in the untradeable packs. And also in rewards, even, it's harder to get these guys. And then because they're so easy to pack in the store packs, they're cheap on the market, but they're not easy in the menu content. So you have this is where the whole problems come in this year, right? This is why it's the imbalance of all these different parts of the game that makes you go like, you know, you look at one thing compared to another thing, and it doesn't add up. Like, one thing indicates the other should be this way. Like, for example, the market indicates that the game should be this way, but it's not like that. So really, honestly, yeah, you have like the people who try to denounce what you pack, obviously, by it being cheap, just to be assholes, because people just don't like happiness and fun. So there's always that group of people, but also there is a part of that that's like, it is true that you just spent 15 games a week and getting a 20k player. Even if she's very good, that can be maybe disappointing, but also, are you just playing for rewards? If that's the case, should you even be playing the game? So there's a lot of layers to it, obviously, but I think we've seen these like layers be better figured out in previous years, though, in terms of what EA are doing. So I guess I don't know. There's some things that are better than what we've used to have, and there's some things that are worse. So what's the balance between these two things? It's hard to say, but I just know that right now we have this imbalance and people are not happy with that. Cosmic Gecko, another long comment here, basically saying like, of course they're going to be out of touch. All they care about is money, obviously. The last paragraph, the only way I can see to fix it is to either completely boycott the game, or for the ones that do buy it, they'll just have to completely ignore the store and only give them the money for the game itself. And this is exactly what I talked about a few comments ago, right? If you limit the microtransactions to the point where there just are none to as many people as you possibly can, that will do a ton of damage, even if you want to buy the game. Because there's always the argument that like, hey, I buy the game for $70. I'm going to play it for like 10 months of the year. That is such a good investment in terms of my time for value, right? Which is hard to argue that, because for me too, I'm going to play this game a ton. So $70 for a 12-month game is like not that much money, actually, when you think about the time spent for entertainment value. Of course, $70 is not going to be cheap for anybody, but when you look at it in terms of like, you know, the genuine money spent versus time spent on the game, I could see why you'd make that argument for sure. So if that's the case, then microtransactions is where we limit, and they will 100% notice that. Like, they are going to be for sure noticing if you don't spend money on the game, they're going to hurt. Ed Sutan next, 82/20 didn't do much for me, but low level fodder for 85/5, 83/14. Yeah, that's all it was good for. Basically, there wasn't really much of anything. We got Anubis back again. As for the person who mentioned there is no DDA, the thought that DDA is in Ultimate Team is just copium. It's the player base choosing to believe in that over accepting that yes, this game just has inconsistent gameplay that is breaking from outdated code, too many animations that the engine can handle, crazy delay, and running on an engine that's not designed for sports games. The reason your center back randomly did not mark an attacker is not because DDA, it's because the game is actually just bad. And this to me is like Occam's razor, right? This is the most likely outcome considering all the problems that this gameplay has, and we know that EA don't appear to be the most like on the ball apart from the store, right? And that's why they make their money. But if you ignore the store aspect of this, which if you're a believer in DDA, these all tie together, so it's hard to separate these two. But there's a clear distinction to me between when we say a believer in DDA. Some people think that's like a believer in unicorns, right? Where it's like DDA literally exists, but is it in the game or not? It's almost like an extinct animal debate compared to a unicorn, right? Because the unicorns never existed. The extinct animal, like, you know, existed. That's more plausible, obviously, that the what's the tiger with the big tooth? Is it the Tasmanian tiger? Is that what it is? What's the tiger with like the giant tooth? You know what I'm talking about? That went extinct like 100 years ago or something like that. The odds that that's out there is a lot more likely, infinitely more likely, than the dragon exists, right? So that's where I think that the distinction comes in from some people. That is like, oh, you're off the shits if you believe in it. But if you want to Occam's razor, bad gameplay, it's this right here, and that is that DDA doesn't exist. The game just sucks because EA clearly doesn't show to be the most competent in terms of making a good game, in terms of good gameplay, right? So that's Occam's razor to me that I most likely believe myself. Cyber Racer got all trash out of all my red picks. I hate this game. Yeah, the packway was terrible. We've got Brutta or Bruta. I apologize once again. He says here, you know, if EA just spent the day watching YouTube and reading comments and Reddit posts and execute what the people want, they would have the best game. If they only listened, but they do not care, man. I do not know what their shrinks are telling them about our behavior, but it's purely wrong. So I'm assuming you mean like, yeah, the psychologists are telling them, you know, what to release, and you're saying it's wrong. This is the thing that's sad, is that I am totally in agreement with you about this last sentence here, but clearly over the years it's proven to be correct for them to listen to them, right? They've been extremely successful. There's no doubt about it. They've made billions of dollars by listening to the psychologists and preying into the brain chemistry of, unfortunately, a lot of times young adults, right? That's their business model, basically. trying to play off of your love of football and of FIFA, maybe if you've been playing it for a long time, and love of like card collecting too. There's so many different loves that play into this game. That's why it's so popular, because there's so many different branches that it reaches. But it has worked, so that's why I don't blame them for listening to them this year. Even if, say, you know, they're not on the wall this year, I don't blame them for listening to them. But also this part up here where it's like, if they just read some YouTube comments and Reddit posts, they would have the best game. I think you have that right in a lot of ways, because I think there's a lot of things that they could add that actually are pretty easy that would help a lot, and would just give really EA good PR for their like main player base by implementing a few things. Yes, if they implemented like everything we wanted, sure, I could see how maybe that would be a bad thing, because maybe everybody would want too good of content, we get it too quickly, things would be too fast, too crazy. Some people actually argue that the way the game is right now is strictly because they listened to us and like we ended up here. I don't fully buy that myself, but I do completely agree that if we had somebody, or you know, just a team of people that tried to hear out what the community wanted and then have them implement that in a way that was okay with them, that it would go a long way, even if it were features that weren't necessarily crazy, right? Just little things that they could add in that would be good for the, I guess, what's the word, like the quality of life, right? Any quality of life features like that, because that's how you keep your main audience around. If you show you at least somewhat care about them, at least fake like you do, the main audience will be here. But if you act like you don't give a shit about anybody might leave, and you don't want the hardcore player to leave, because if you're not getting casual players to come in, which doesn't feel like they're doing that recently, and your hardcore players start leaving, then you're in big fucking trouble, and one day you'll realize that, but it takes a while. I got Creed87. Yeah, you're justified in going crazy. You speak for all of us. LOL. No menu grind at this stage of the game is just unforgivable. It's no good making it good for fuddies for the last 4 weeks of the game cycle. FC26 purchase is on a shaky ground. I can't lie. And thank you for making me not feel crazy, because yeah, this is probably the, like, I wasn't really crashing out, but it's probably the biggest crash out I've had in a while, because I know you guys feel the same way. I've read hundreds of your comments over the last days, but it's more honestly perplexing than anything. Like, what was the plan about any of the content? Even evolutions, like, I don't know what even the resemblance of the plan was. I couldn't even tell you 1% of what the plan was. I'm just, you know, befuddled, as I think I said one of the videos ago. Sound waves, just pack tradable tots, Cristiano. Should I sell right now or wait? Well, if you're seeing the sound waves, I apologize that 3 days ago you packed him and you probably already have sold or you have kept him. Well, the thing was, this is now prior to the new Ronaldo coming out. My guess is actually, let's take a look at this. Now thinking about it, this Ronaldo is he's 15 mil. If I actually had to bet, I bet Tots Ronaldo went up quite a bit actually since the inclusion or introduction of this card. Let's see, he's 2.5 mil right now. What was he? What's 3 days here? Okay, he actually has not. He's gone down. What has he gone down since? Yeah, he's about the same price. So no, he's actually dropped quite a bit since the 13th, 14th, which I think I released this video like right around this point right here. Unfortunately, if you did sell, you probably would have made more money. But I mean, I'd fine selling him unless you really want to keep him. I wouldn't be shocked to see this card actually kind of go up a little bit over time because of the 15 mil other Ronaldo. But at this point in the game, is it worth holding on to a card like that for 2 weeks to make another 100K? Probably not. Cyber Racer, people must spam store packs, otherwise the market could not be this low with this pack weight being horrendous. Is exactly right, because this is like more of the proof of the imbalance, right, of the pack weight, because if cards are 20K and you can't pack them, then there's a problem. And that's why you have guaranteed stuff in the store that allows you to make the Fry Gong price 20K, but yet packing Fry Gong on 82 by 20 extremely hard, and that's where the balance comes in. That's why the menu grind has not been worth it. Well, that's one of the reasons. There's 4 other reasons. One being there isn't one, but that's one of the reasons why if there was one, people wouldn't even really like be that in tune with it or really like it that much. We got Jokerino. If EA hires psychologists to help their shop packs sell better, then we can be sure that everything they do or don't do is intentional. Or do you really think EA is missing out on a single cent? Just like with the error shop packs, people think it's a mistake, but just think about how many more shop packs they sell when the player thinks they're getting an extra one as compensation. And this is one of those things that is a quote-unquote conspiracy or whatever you want to say. But I mean, I agree with you that we know know that they have psychologists. There's not an if. This is definitely, you know, a thing that they do have there. So knowing that, the odds that a lot of these mistakes might be intentional is increased, right? I do think Occam's razor once again kind of leaves us to a no, they probably are just not very good at their jobs because they can't make good gameplay. The menu content buggy. The game is on legacy code for a decade. You know, all that stuff counted in here. Then these mistakes start to make more sense. But at the same time, if you have people that say, hey, you know, if you just did this, you'd probably get more people to buy packs. The higher up sitting there are thinking, hey, do we not do it because it's immoral, or do we maybe slide a couple of these in there and make some more money? That's the debate. You know, no matter what, that has been, it's probably sat there and thought about. Someone at EA has read the bullet point of like, hey, if you do this, you'll probably make some more pack sales. And they have to sit there and say, no, we don't want to do that because that's immoral. What's that line that they draw? Is there a line they draw? Where is it if they do draw it? That's where this, you know, the whole debate comes into play, right? Is that EA are willingly sitting there and going, no, we won't do that. Do you believe that's the case? Well, that's a debate. GZ100, JFC, man, I'm so confused because they're showing not making money right now. Like, this game is dead. No one plays. This is why I think we'll see this next year. We'll see what these numbers look like in the next earnings call. And we'll see if this truly was a good TOTS for them. And if this was, we might be fucked. But I'm going to guess and say that it was not a good TOTS. Sean Davis, there is no next year. For some people, there is no next year. Yes, that is true. Astor Ayushi, do you play your champs live? I do not, and you know, eventually one day maybe I do stream more often. The thing with me is that I've said this before if you've been around for a while, but if you're like newer to my content on the channel, like I want to make stuff that I want to make, and if I'm making content that I don't want to make, I'm miserable, and I think it comes through the screen, and I think that is not fun to watch. Well, I guess it might be fun watching somebody crash out, right? But just for me, I don't really crash out. I'm more so just like, oh, I'm done with this, and I turn the console off and like that's it, because I don't play like during the year. I don't play champs every weekend. I don't play rivals every week. I don't, because if I'm not feeling like I want to play it, I'm just not going to. So the thing with streaming is that you need to have a schedule. Otherwise, it's hard to make yourself known as a streamer. So that's why I was going to make YouTube videos, because I'm like, I can make YouTube videos every day really easily by, even if I don't play it like for multiple hours a day, I can still be more selective in how many days of the week I want to actually put a lot of time into it, if that makes sense. So if I was streaming, I'd like hop on, and some days I'd wake up and hop on the game and I'd be like, damn, I don't want to play this right now. And that is something I just do not want to do. That's why it's way easier for me to hop on and do these videos on the second channel than it is for me to like do gameplay stuff, because if I just don't play the game for a week in terms of gameplay, then like all of a sudden I'm not really doing what the YouTube algorithm likes me to do in terms of gameplay stuff. And then is that a waste of time then? But this is like, for me, so easy for me because I love doing this. I'm just trying to find kind of what I enjoy, plus what you guys enjoy, plus what for the long-term success of the channel makes sense, because obviously I just want to grow organically. And like right now I get, you know, and the analytics show me that like our channel, I say our channel, this channel is like in the top 1% of channels with this many subs engagement wise, like super active community. And I feel like because of that, I feel like we're doing a pretty good job and like doing the things we're doing. So I think that anything can happen, and maybe I do become a full-time streamer one day, I don't know. But I feel like it's hard to judge kind of what to do, I guess. Gamer Skull says, we're so upset the 82 by 20s removed. We were packing so many blues from it. It was very OP. What are we gonna do now? Yeah, like I said, no, yeah, you're right. We were not packing any blues from it, but it was more so just the menu grind's done, right? It was a proof the menu grind's over. It was proof that you can just basically go suck on these fat nuts. Oh, we got Ihab Mohammed, I want to say. Anyone have a nightmare experience in Div 5 this week? He was saying like, I swear I should have played rats that were in Div 1 or 2. Way too good to be in Div 5. We've heard of some matchmaking issues. There's been rumors of that this year where there's been some really weird matchmaking stuff. That there's a chance that could be the case. There's a chance that you were having an off day or an unlucky day where you just played good players actually, and it really was like you were playing players higher in your skill level. There's a lot of things that it could have been, but you know, the TOTS matchmaking, the champs matchmaking stuff, and the rivals matchmaking, there's been some weird stuff with that this year. Chris BC, this is what I think was one of our last comments said, is like, Apparently, people still open a lot of store packs. The amount of tradable tots in the market is crazy. It seems people are willing to pay for convenience, which I think is true for sure. You can pay for convenience, but this last sentence is very interesting. It's kind of weird that the free-to-play menu grind is dead, but it's not a pay-to-win game since you can rep a damn good team for very few coins. And this is true and not true to me, because I think you're actually right that when you actually think about the pay-to-win aspect of this game, it's actually less pay-to-win than previous years. FIFA, I'd say, starting from FIFA 17 to like 21, 22 maybe, I would say those were the games that like there's a substantially better team than what you probably can afford, and the R9 Dino Pele team, like you can't probably ever get there, and that team will be insane. And now this year it's like everyone's got crazy ass teams, and so technically it's not pay to win per se. Now it's funny because I think the pay to win stuff, this is a random kind of side note to this, but I think the reason it's not pay to win actually is because EA sometimes don't know what would make a pay to win game. And here's an example. I have Tots Mbappe, right? And this Tots Mbappe, actually, you know what I noticed with this card? Almost immediately. Every time I use this card, you know what I notice almost immediately right here is he has a playstyle missing. You know what that playstyle is? I'll give you like 5 seconds to guess it and see if you can. So obviously the stats are fantastic on this card, but he's missing one playstyle that clearly makes a difference here. And that playstyle is first touch. His first touches and everything afterwards take just a split second longer than everybody else's in my team, and it is so noticeable trying to play fast. So one of the issues is right now, if you look at the most expensive cards in this game, well, let's look at that new Ronaldo card. This one is more, I guess, sentimental price than like exactly how good he is. But for example, this card also no first touch. I can guarantee you will notice that with this card. Let's sort by price right now, okay, of all players. Price descending right now, you've got 98 R9. What does he not have? Okay, well, this card is pretty much everything you'd want. Base first touch, great. Base trickster, you can do the trickster fake shots. Quick step and rapid, so you can use as fast as can be, basically. Tiki taka means you can X pass to a good degree. Technical means you can R1 dribble, low driven shot, and finesse shot. So this is one of those cards that actually, this is a pay to win card for me because he has like basically everything besides incisive pass, which you probably don't need for your striker as much as other cards. So he's 11.8 mil. I would say that's kind of a pay to win ish card there. But the thing is for example, this Tots Messi is the same way for me. No first touch. I noticed that with him. I immediately noticed it. So if EA knew how to make some of these cards like actually pay to win, I think they would do that. But they're missing stuff, and EA with the playstyle system don't realize that these cards are missing something. This Pele, once again, is he missing something? Maybe not. He's also doesn't have the height, so maybe that's just inherently missing. But this is another one of those that's like maybe really nothing kind of is missing on this card because he has tiki taka and technical and maybe finesse shot plus, you could say. Below driven plus is close to as good as that. So you can find a few cards in here that aren't missing something, but a lot of these cards will be missing something. And that's mainly why this game has not been pay to win to me, rather than like a conscious change to, or I should say a conscious change by EA. Maybe I'm giving them no credit for that. That could be, but I think if they knew actually what could make them super like an actual pay to win, I think they would do it more often. I think that they just don't understand, like they haven't understood play styles and how important they have been to later on in this year's cycle. I think that's kind of why that next year also very interesting, right? Gully Foot Tony, the pack weight is so bad should be classed as an infringement on my European human rights. What a load of butt chutney. Yeah, I mean, we have human rights violations. We got war crimes being filed for this pack weight. So Devin Pack here makes a couple good points. First of all, generational rant. Thanks. You said here, think what was said with people want to feel different with an expensive card in their team is a good point because the meta players like Hansen and Vidi are cheap, and that has some people losing their minds with Ultimate Tots as a whole, which shouldn't be the case because you can try a bunch of cards this year and other years you could not try. So basically sum up your comment there. And I think that is undoubtedly true. I think you can take that as a part of this that is a good part of this new system. So it's important to sit here, and I think for some creators who I just, let's be honest here, maybe haven't thought a lot of this stuff through, when they say like, oh, Tots is shit, you have to make sure you're careful with that because people see the cards being cheaper and go, how can you say this is shit? This is what we've ranted about for years that we didn't like. Now we have this aspect of the game that maybe we didn't like before. Now we do have it, and we still say the game is shit. So you have to be very careful with that. So yes, that's better in like that way, but also in other ways, not good. Like Tots was not good. And also the market, technically speaking, it's not like it's all cheaper. R9 is still 11 mil. So okay, use him. Maybe there's a cheaper top end, like, you know, Tots, Messi, and Ronaldo, like they're they're more on like the 2 or 3 mil coin range, where maybe they'd usually be 4 or 5 mil. Maybe it is cheaper still in that way, but it's not like they're all super affordable. So yes, it's more affordable, but it's not like it's scaled too much, I guess. But that could be wrong. That might be me not giving them enough credit once again. But it's just, it is important to remember to be as objective as you can be, because otherwise you look like a fucking dumbass. Otherwise you look like what can EA do and actually satisfy us? Because it looks like they can't do anything. And if they think that, they just won't listen to us. Like they already don't to a large degree, but they won't listen to us at all if they sit there and go, okay, we'll never win them over. There's 0 points. So it's important to try and be as objective as you can be, even though true objectivity no human being can probably achieve. It's important to do that as much as you can here. Cayman says, I deleted the game already. Hey, if it's better for your mental health that way, then I'm happy for you. We got Inezadinho basically saying, I'm done, like no motivation to play anything. If they could, they'd charge me for breathing. Dan says Benzema is not a good example. So he's responding to a comment I made talking about how Benzema SPC was used a lot and people loved him. So let's see what Dan says about that. So the fact that everyone had him just shows that people will not pass on a good deal. But if you told them, would you rather have the same car but it costs 10+ mil and barely anyone other than you has it, they'd be like, hell yeah, I want some exclusive stuff. This is the same reason people are very pissed about Free Zidane and Maradona. I think that, yeah, you're right in the sense that this is kind of like how these games almost work, is there has to be some exclusive stuff. Like there's gonna be there's an inevitable some exclusivity that exists in these games. Like you can't not have that, otherwise the game is going to be boring, right? It's what level of exclusivity is a good level. That's the whole debate, right? But it's a good point that you say this. I think this is more so a thing. I think the reason most people would say that, okay, yeah, you can have the same card, it costs 10+ mil, barely anyone has it, would you want that to be the case? People would say yes. I think that's just as much because of the game modes and how everything in this game is tied to wins. So to help you win more, you're giving everyone else like not as good of a card as you. So it's less so just the simple exclusivity factor and more so I want to win more games, which I guess they go hand in hand, obviously, but there's a level of like, I just want this and I don't want you to have it because I have it. And there's a level of, well, I want it because I want a competitive advantage, right? So I think the game modes play into this as much as like the human element of I want exclusive stuff. Honestly, I think they both play a factor into this. But I think you do bring up a good point. And I think the Benzema example for me is more so an example of if you make it right, if the chips align in a way where everyone has a said card, but it's very good, people still like enjoy that. People will still do the SBC and enjoy using Benzema because everybody still used Benzema. They had to have enjoyed it to a certain extent, even though everyone was using him. So if all the chips aligned in a right way, that's theoretically possible to give players a lot of the same cards, but have it be fun. So how do we find all of this balance? This is what the whole debate has been over the last like 2 years, I would say, mainly, is that EA just really struggled to find that balance, and I don't even know myself what it fully looks like. And Kyle Benger, I think I need to make a Kyle, you're preaching, like, you're talking about delay here, I think, and like the delay is terrible. You're totally right, but I think I need a rule where no punctuation. I don't think I can read the comment because I need punctuation to slow me down. I talk like I'm on drugs, so if I don't have punctuation to slow me down, then I'm gonna just my mind's gonna melt. We got Cyber FM. EA don't want anyone to love the game. They want to trick you into paying them with FOMO. Spend to make it better constantly because it's never good enough. This is a good point too. Do you guys think maybe it's somehow intentional that maybe they thought about this whole playstyle system is that they will, if they leave out certain playstyles, your cards to a certain extent will always be missing a few things, so you always want to improve your team? Is that a conspiracy, or is that just like a natural side effects that playstyle system has that they didn't account for? I guess I don't really know, but it could be, right? Because like I said with Messi, I noticed it immediately. I noticed it. I have an Evo Messi and I am debatably like using him as much as I would use, like, I don't know, name another top like random right mid. I use him as much as anybody else because he doesn't have first touch. If I could put first touch on him, he'd never leave my team. Just one simple play style, and I don't think Messi would never leave my team, but I don't have that play style, so I don't really use him that much. And obviously it's my fault that I did the Evo, but I didn't realize how important first touch was at the time. I now do. I now have learned from my mistakes, and maybe this is a conspiracy that EA are aware of, and they say, hey, well, if we have the playstyle system where every card can't have all the playstyles, they'll always be missing something. It helps with upgrades, and also your card probably plays slightly worse in game, which maybe leads towards frustration. Does that lead toward the store? maybe this stuff's all thought about, or maybe that's just going and looking too deep into this stuff, right? We've got Shari, I want to say, has not played the game since Team of the Year. Never felt so liberated. Life's fun. Now, listen, I'm glad you're having fun. Okay, some people are just not meant for FIFA. It's not good for your mental health. But I always try and help people work on the whole balance of like, hey, just don't play FIFA as much as you probably did, because you probably were playing it too much. Don't take it as seriously. Just step back and be like, yeah, this game's not great. There's some fun things to be had, but it's not great. Let's not take it too seriously. But that's a lot easier said than done, right? So some people just cannot handle it, and this game's not for you, and that's totally okay. 13 guns just says worst tots ever. Game's getting worse. Menu grind bad, pack bad, SBC's bad, gameplay bad. I mean, yeah, you go on and on. We got Kylo. I tried to buy last season's premium pass a couple minutes before it expired, got hit with multiple errors, took my 500k, and bang, no rewards. I mean, good lord. He replied and said, I contacted support. They were aware of the issue and the team was working hard to fix it. They said check their X account for updates. Oh god, I mean, you might that 500k. What are the odds that Kylo, you see that 500k back? I'm giving it 10%. I got a 10% chance that 500k reaches your account. I think EA just ate your coins. I think you're never seeing those again. Aaron Thornhill, I see McGill has checked out and quit YouTube/FC videos. EA has ruined the game and the community. And hey, when you think about, unfortunately, when this game was at its peak was in the probably mid 2010s to late 2010s, right? And there were so many bigger creators playing this game. When you think about the biggest channels that grew off of FIFA, how many of them still play? I'd be willing to say, if you look at the top, I'd say 25 biggest FIFA channels in YouTube history, I bet 24 of them don't play it. I bet the one that still plays it maybe is Nepenthes. Will he crack the top 25? You know, thinking about all the ones over the years, I don't exactly know, but there's a reason for that, right? And I think that, yeah, sports games are repetitive, right? It's hard to jazz it up, but one of the biggest reasons is because they've cut out a lot of what made it fun. And there's still fun to be had, but it's not as organic and often, right? So people quit, and that will, I promise you, people quitting and on social media, we're a small minority in terms of like the people who are in the YouTube space, on the Twitter sphere. Sure, we're more of a minority than we realize, but all that stuff matters. One of the best ways to gain new players is by just word of mouth and social media. Everybody's on social media. I think that just all these people quitting, less word of mouth to talk about this game is only gonna hurt them in the long run. Carson Hetty basically says, I can't get anything good. He watches Ozzy get messy in CR7. That's where my humanity has gone. So is there maybe a creator conspiracy here? Good pack luck, maybe? Is that what you're trying to say? I'm willing to believe it. Varane, I want to say. Varane, I apologize once again. If you buy FC26 with pre-order bonuses, just throw your money in the trash. Guys, next year's going to be great. What are you talking about? It's going to be the best FIFA game in history next year. Adam Ray, I even asked ChatGPT and it said EA's a shady as fuck company. I mean, I'm not surprised. We've got Shane here, talks about, like, you know, back in my day, which I'm with you there. Store packs were a rarity. It was like Black Friday was like the store packs time, and how we have fallen. I mean, how things have gone downhill. Monty Matata, like, boycott FC. It is funny that, remember when Run the Fub Market was like, let's do something, and all the creators, which I want to say it was a good chunk, it was like at least half, were like, you're a fucking idiot for wanting to stop this. I'm never gonna stop. It's my job. It's actually pretty good. The discourse when that started was so hilarious, and really I think it just showed like true colors of what most people think about this game actually. But yeah, that was an insane time. I couldn't believe how negative that discourse was. And Varane's back again. He says, like, content creators keep feeding players the idea the next game will be better. If anyone's saying that they know next year's game will be better, they're full of shit, because they don't know. I was just saying I have the thought that it's going to be, because they competed with GTA 6. Just simple, like, they have to. It can't not be better. They're gonna stomp on their own grave if they don't make it better, because GTA 6 is gonna come out. But if anyone's sitting there like, I know next year's game is gonna be the best FIFA in years, like, no, you do not know that. You have no possible way of knowing that. We got Young So saying they couldn't even give us league upgrades for tots, but they have unlimited 88 11s in the store. Yes, because fuck you, spend money. And Simone with a really good message here. The last sentence is one that I think sticks out to many people, and that's sad because I want to play it, I just don't enjoy it. This is where EA has such an upper hand in the competition that they literally have a game that, because it's football, people just want to play it because it's football, right? Like, you hop on, and sometimes you wake up in the morning and there's days I have where I'm like, damn, well, I want to play FIFA today because I think I'm thinking about football. It's not because I'm thinking about probably the game itself. I'm thinking about the sport that we all love. They have such an inherent advantage there, and they still fuck it up that it's sometimes impressive. Now, it's not easy to make a game. It's not easy to make any game, but they have unlimited resources, basically. They have a sport that's universally loved, the most popular sport in the world. Like, I hope you could make it work. Yeah, I would hope so. Maybe that's being harsh, but yes, I would hope you could make it fucking work. And Rude Awakenings, maybe pushing the streamer propaganda, right? Getting better pack weight. Is that true? I think if we Occam's razor it once again, they open a shit ton of packs every day. That's probably why. But once again, I mean, I'm not putting it past EA to, give a little, hey, like, we know their account, boom, give a little boost or something. And next up is Inferno Origin, who says, like, you guys are talking about Evos save the game, and I'm wondering what Evos. And not wrong. There was a big stretch there of some not great Evos, but the thing is that I say Evos saved the game because people hop on every day to see what cards fit in their evolutions. Like, the idea that they exist at all, I think, helps people get on the game every day, even if the evolution that drops that day maybe isn't that insane. But like you said, I feel like they could have made this TOTS great by just making them way more packable. Yes, they could have. That to me is a really easy way. Even if the fodder is packable, they could have kept the pack weight on the crazy cards the exact same, like literally the Vinnies and above, right? The 350k plus cards, make the weight the exact same, just literally change the weight on the discard cards, and that would have made TOTS better. They couldn't do it because fuck your menu grind, open the store, basically. Omni Caliber, I'm glad this happened. It happened to me 4 months ago. Come to the light, my friend. I've been in the light, man. I promise you, the light has been shining on me for years, okay? I promise I've been there. And Juan Fernandez, I'll end it on this one. Dude, you just need to relax. How about a girlfriend? I have a boyfriend. Keep it. No, I don't have a boyfriend. I have a fiance. I have more than a girlfriend, actually. I'm just passionate about the game, okay? I just want this game to be better for us. This game deserves to be better for us. Am I making any difference at all? Definitely not, but I'm trying at least. At least I'm trying to do something. And maybe one day we'll all fight and make it better. But until that day, I guess we'll just keep trying. Yeah, if you made it this far in the video, ass emojis, please, because I don't know how you got here. Listen to me for however the fuck long this video was, but thank you guys for being here so much. Love y'all, servers on, peace.